All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're cracking open the 17th February SSC MTS paper. But we're not just going to look at the answers. Nope, we're treating this thing like a treasure map. Our mission? To find a clear, strategic path to help you succeed. Let's dive in.
So, can one exam paper really predict your future success? I mean, it sounds a little crazy, right? It's kind of like trying to drive forward by only looking in the rearview mirror. But what if I told you it absolutely can?
Yeah, it can, but only if you know how to read the clues. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not just looking at old questions, we're going on a mission to decode the hidden patterns, the signals, the whole shebang. It's all about turning hindsight into some serious foresight.
Okay, first up, history and governance. Now, you might think these are just random trivia questions they pull out of a hat. Nope. Think of them more like breadcrumbs, deliberately left for us to follow. They show us exactly what the examiners think is important. Let's see what I mean.
Okay, check this one out. In whose court did Raja Todar Mal serve? This is a classic. They're not just asking for a name, they're testing if you know about the key players inside a major dynasty. You know, the relationships, the roles, the whole power structure.
And the answer is the Mughal Emperor Akbar. Yep, Raja Todar Mal was one of his famous Navratnas, one of his 9 gems, basically his finance minister. Super important guy. Okay, so that's one clue. Let's grab another one. And here's the next one. When did Harshavardhana ascend the throne? See what they did there? It's not just who he was, but a very specific moment in his life. This tells you they want precision. A fuzzy idea of the time period just isn't going to cut it.
That's 606 AD, by the way. So let's pause for a second. We've got a key figure from the Mughal court and a specific date from a totally different era. So what's the pattern here? What's the big takeaway?
Here it is, the big insight. It's telling us to focus on the big hitter dynasties. We're talking Mughals, Guptas, that league. You've got to go deep on the major rulers. It's not just about memorizing a bunch of dates. It's about understanding the context, who did what and when. That's the stuff that matters. All right, let's move on to what I think is the real master key to this whole exam: economics and policy. Seriously, if you can crack the code here, you are way ahead of the game.
So, the paper asked a question about service tax, which was introduced way back in 1994. Seems like a simple fact, right? Maybe even a bit random? Wrong. This isn't a history question. It's a massive signpost pointing you to something much more current. What's it pointing to? The Goods and Services Tax, GST. That old question about service tax is basically screaming at you to master GST. You need to know everything: the slabs, the model, its history, the works. That's the real lesson here. And then there's this. They asked about the period of the 12 five-year plan. You see a question like that, and it tells you one thing loud and clear. The entire history of India's 5-year plans is critical. It's not just one plan, it's the whole story.
So you've really got to know this whole journey, from the very first plan kicking off in 1951, all the way to the 12th and final one, and then Niti Aayog taking over in 2015. And hey, pay close attention to that plan holiday between 66 and 69. That's a classic question, because it's an exception, a break in the pattern. And you know examiners love to ask about the exceptions.
Let's zoom in a bit. Think of this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. You've got the first plan, which was all about agriculture and irrigation, using the Harold-Domar model. That's when we got the first 5 IITs. Then boom, the second plan flips the script. It's all about rapid industrialization, using the PC Mahalanobis model. That's where the big steel plants at Bhilai and Durgapur came from. Knowing the difference between these two, absolutely crucial.
Okay, switching gears now. Let's talk science and tech. I like to call this section Quick Wins. Why? Because these questions are usually straightforward knowledge checks. If you've put in the work, these are some of the easiest points you're going to get.
So, what do they ask? Well, they asked how many carbon atoms are in a glucose molecule. That's straight up basic biology. 6, by the way. Then, they asked which country developed the first carbon-14 diamond battery. That was the UK. And finally, where the TRIPS 2025 summit was held. IIT Kanpur. See the mix? It's core science, current affairs, and tech policy. The signal is clear. You need to know a little bit of everything in this space. All right, on to arts and culture. I call this one the breadth test, because that's exactly what it is. It's testing how wide your knowledge is. It wants to know if you've explored the incredible diversity of India's culture, not just one little corner of it.
Perfect example. The first question. Bhavaiya. It's a folk song from West Bengal. Simple, right?
But the key is that connection, the art form and the specific state it comes from.
And then, just like that, they pivot. The very next thing is about the bankora, which is a wind instrument from Uttarakhand. We just jumped from a song in the east to an instrument in the north. Trust me, that's not an accident.
So what's the big lesson? It's that regional specificity is everything. You absolutely have to be able to connect the dots. You hear Bhavaiya, you think West Bengal. You hear bankora, you think Uttarakhand. You hear Kwak Yatra, you think Manipur. My advice? Start making lists state by state. It's pretty much non-negotiable for this section.
Okay, so let's recap. We've connected the dots in history, we've found the master key for economics, we spotted the quick wins in science, and we figured out the breadth test for culture. Now, the big question, what do you actually do with all this? Let's put it all together into a killer study plan.
Here it is, your strategic checklist. Number 1, master the 5-year plans, especially those first 3 and, of course, the plan holiday. 2, see an old tax question? Let that be your trigger to dive deep into GST. 3, get up to date on the latest FDI and GDP targets. And 4, get to work on those state-wise lists of folk arts, instruments, and festivals. See, this isn't just random studying, this is studying smart.
You know, there's a saying, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. It's so simple, but it's so true. We can analyze this stuff all day, but it means nothing if you don't act on it. You have the strategy now. The path is clear. All that's left is for you to take that first step.
So, I'll leave you with this. Take another look at that checklist. Which topic are you going to conquer first? Don't overthink it. Just pick one and get started right now. Turn what we've talked about today into your secret weapon. You've got this.